1.3 billion people across the globe do not have access to electricity. Of them, 300 million people are right here in India. And to put that in context, for a minute, imagine the entire population of the United States living in darkness. 300 million people, that is the entire population of the United States. And right here we have that number of people living in complete darkness. Today we have with us on our panel people who are literally doing their bit to remove that darkness and to light up the lives of many thousands of people in India. I have next to me Dipali Khanna with the Rockefeller Foundation. Rockefeller has an initiative called Smart Power for Rural Development, and their goal is to bring light to 1,000 villages and 1 million people in India over the next 3 years. We have next to her Kismet, who is an entrepreneur. She has a namkeen business, a snack business, and she's using solar power for that. We have Sanchayata Gajapati Raju, the founder of Sana, an organization that's using solar power to bring sanitation and clean drinking water to villages in India. And we have Dr. Ashok Khosla. He is the chairman of Development Alternatives, and he also works with Rockefeller to implement the program on the ground. Welcome. Dipali, I want to begin with you. Why is electricity such a critical need in India in particular?
Thank you so much. As you just said, over 300 million people in India still don't have access to energy. They're villages that are completely marginalized, not having any connections and any hope and opportunity for the grid to be coming in these areas. So for Rockefeller, it was really important to see how we could provide energy to these remote villages and ensure not only that people have access to energy for lighting, but most importantly for economic development. The opportunities around how they can improve their livelihoods gets pretty limited without them having access to energy. So for us, this initiative is really about ensuring how we can get 1 million people to have access to energy so that they can improve their livelihoods. And here I want to mention women in particular because that's been a special focus of our work as well. Because as we all know that the condition and the position of women in these marginalized communities where we are working is one where they're not involved in any form of decision making, they do not have access to resources, etc. So with the work that we're doing by providing energy, we're trying to see how women can have access to more opportunities to enhance their income and feel more empowered. And of course, secondly, the whole issue around safety, which is a big issue. After 8 o'clock, I'm sure Kismet is going to be talking about this.
We're going to come back to that in a second. But before we go into the issue of safety, Dr. Khosla, this is an ambitious goal. How are you going about implementing it on the ground? How does it work?
Well, if you were to depend on the grid and take electricity from the existing systems, you're not going to get there.
Correct.
So we've basically designed a whole new way of delivering solar energy or renewable-based energy, which is by its nature decentralized, through what we call microgrids. Each community will have, and has, we've already done 60-odd communities with the Rockefeller Foundation support, a mechanism by which people will get electricity for lighting, for fans, and for basic needs, including sometimes pumping and other things. Now, in order to do that, you have to make it commercially viable.
Correct.
And otherwise, it's not going to work for very many.
So it's not done for free?
No. We don't give anything away free, but we make it cheap enough that it's affordable. And now people are used to paying for services. Once people have got the idea with cell phones and other things, they are now willing to pay.
So there's no resistance to paying for this?
As long as it's affordable. If it's affordable, then of course they are willing to pay. Yeah.
Sanchayata, you are using solar power as a tool to basically bring sanitation and clean water to villages. So how does that work? Explain us your process.
Well, I believe that technology can be used to transform lives, and that is the motto of my not-for-profit. So basically what we do is we set up solar-powered water treatment stations to produce around 1.8 million liters of clean water in every site. And we use the wastewater for flushing and washing in community biotoilets, which is a very effective waste disposal system in the absence of a sanitation network, which is the case in most of the areas where we work. So solar becomes a very important element, because if we didn't have electricity, then there's no way we can pump out the water from the raw water source. There's no way that we can ensure that the water station runs. And most importantly, we won't have lighting in the toilets. So technology becomes an enabler for us, but technology can never be a solution in itself. So we marry this with intensive capacity building and workshops with the stakeholders who invest into the project. And in a sense, I agree with you when you say we give nothing for free. But we don't keep ownership of the project. We transfer that to the panchayat, and we let them sell the water. So there's a
So the
revenue
local
stream.
community gets involved, they're
Exactly.
stakeholders, and they feel a sense of pride
Ownership
and ownership.
and pride, and absolutely, yes.
किस्मत, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ कि जब बिजली के पहले, सोलर पावर के पहले, जब आप अंधेरा में रहती थी, तो कैसे था?
जी अंधेरे में इतना अंधेरा था कि आप लोग जैसे आँखें बंद कर लें वो इतना अंधेरा हमारे गांव में रहता था। उसके बाद हम लोग की ज़िंदगी अंधेरे में कटते आज तलुक चली गई। हम लोग के बत्ती लगाई ये दीपावली दीदी ने अप्रैल चौथे महीने से हमारे वहाँ लाइट बत्ती आई। वैसे अंधेरे में हमारे लोग की इतनी ज़िंदगी अंधेरे में कटी।
Let me just translate this. So what Kismat said is, just imagine, close your eyes for a minute, and that's the kind of darkness in which they've been living all this while. Before, with the help of the Rockefeller Foundation, we were able to set up the mini-grid plant in her village. That was in April, and her life has been completely transformed with the solar energy plant that has been put up, whereby now she has access to energy.
और किस्मत, अब बत्ती है आपके गांव में, आपके घर में, तो अब क्या बदलाव आ गया है?
बदलाव आया है कि हम लोग शाम के 8 बजे से बाहर हम लोग नहीं निकल पाता। अब लड़की सयान है, उसको बाहर कैसे, घर के दरवाजे बाहर नहीं जा पाते। अब बत्ती से गांव में रोशनी है और सबके घरे उजाला है, और बच्चे हमारे लोग के बढ़िया उजेरे में पढ़त, काम उनका स्कूल के पूरा हो जाता।
So Kismet is saying that, with energy there's been transformation. Earlier, after 8 p.m., she could not afford to go out. She also has a young daughter, and now, of course, she doesn't worry as much. Also, with energy, there's access to education, and she can see the change in her entire village now.
So basically, it has a huge multiplier effect. Tell us about some of the examples of development you've seen and how it's gone beyond just one light bulb.
So this has really been important for us, because it's not just about supplying energy, but it's also really promoting opportunities for people like Kismet to be able to take advantage of the energy which is being provided by the mini grids. So we're helping people like Kismet and many other women to look at what are the other opportunities that they can think of, which they haven't thought of, because most of the areas where we're working in UP and Bihar are agricultural areas. So what is it that can be done within the village, and what is it that can be promoted through different agricultural value chains that will really help the women as well as the men to be able to be in a better position. So for example, in the case of Kismet, we've been able to give her various options of the kind of entrepreneurship work that she can take on, also given her training. She, by the way, is a namkeen entrepreneur, and so she's making namkeen now. And so we've given her the skills to be able to do this, helped her with a business plan to see how she can have a profitable venture, when can she think of getting returns, etc. So we really provide that whole package of services, which really will help Kismet to succeed, and many other women.
Dr. Khosla, it goes beyond physical development, doesn't it? Does it have an impact on changing behavior, for example?
Of course, huge impacts. I don't want to be heard to say that light for women is something that's good for society or good as a justification. Of course, politicians and economists need that justification, so I'll give a few of those. But every human being, particularly the women and girls, have a right to have a decent light, a decent life. So having said that, this is something that's basic and human right, and you do not need to have economic or social justifications for these things. I would like to give a few. because we have to convince the people, the powers that be, to invest in these things. So one easy justification is the one that Dipali mentioned, a huge multipliers in terms of education, self-confidence, ability to face life after dark.
Economic opportunities,
and economic
businesses.
opportunities, a little bit of sewing and knitting or whatever that makes you money. So that's a given, and it's pretty obvious. A second one, which I hear occasionally in the village, is safety, but it's a different kind of safety. Not just the question of creepy crawlies and snakes and scorpions and things, but having the ability to have light in the one hand and electricity that powers, say, the water pump, which means that you don't have to walk for 4 or 5 miles to get water, changes your whole sociological behavior. One young woman told me that there were fewer robberies now because they didn't have to go far away to get water. And these are very dramatic, major changes in people's lives. But I think the most important, the most fundamental change from the point of view of a poor country like India, which still has, particularly in the northern parts of the country, very high fertility, high birth rates, and population growth, light is probably the second best contraceptive. It's a fact that probably, and you don't know what the best one is, that's television. But both are made possible by electricity. And it seems to me that those justifications are almost so huge that almost no other investment comes close
to matching this.
To matching this in terms of the country's future. Yes.
Sanchita, when we talk about India, now it's often said India has more temples than toilets. I wanted to talk to you about women, safety. In India we have, in so many villages, most of our villages, women are forced to defecate outdoors. And you are changing that. Slowly, surely you are changing that. What impact does that have on a woman's dignity, her self-confidence?
It's completely transformational. It's it's something that many of us can't imagine, actually. But when a woman has to go out and defecate, it changes her both physically and also mentally. Physically, when I say that, I've met young girls who go to sleep on not a full stomach because they're scared that if they have to answer nature's call in the middle of the night and go out in the wilderness, that's something that sends chills down their bones. Or even if you look at the actual physical outcome of that, you see that you have diarrhea being one of the biggest causes of death for children. And you see that most of the women that we work with, they're daily wage earners. So every rupee that they spend on healthcare is that much into debt for them. So this has both an economic impact and, of course, an impact on their mind, because there's nothing that ravages a woman's dignity more than having to go out and defecate in the open. So this is something that is a huge concern. We've just celebrated World Toilet Day, and somebody correctly said if you line up all the people in India who don't have a toilet, the line will go to the moon and beyond. So that we have,
Yeah, I want to bring it back to Kismet and to the issue of safety. And Dipali, if you help me here, and I just want to understand, she talked earlier about the level of robbery has come down, what it's like for young women in the village, her daughters. I just want to understand whether the village feels safer and what it's done for confidence, because now she can go out, her children can go out.
बत्ती की वजह से हम लोग जिसे अंधेरे में कोई काम नहीं होता है, सूरज डूब जाए उसके बाद में हम लोग के गांव में कोई काम नहीं हो पाता है। मोबाइल में चार्ज, मोबाइल असल बत्ती नहीं रही थी तो मोबाइल हम लोग नहीं रखते थे। हमारे लोग के पति बाहर रहते थे, बात बराबर कभी नहीं होती थी। अप्रैल से बत्ती लगी तब से मोबाइल लिया तो पति से बात होती है।
I know Kismet has been telling us, that how important charging a mobile phone is, because as you know, in UP and Bihar, most of the men folk are working outside. So for her to be able to talk to her husband, who spends at least 8 or 10 months in a year living in Mumbai, this was really important.
And the mobile phone, that is very, very important in rural India now, isn't it? So with access to electricity, she's able to charge her mobile phone. And the one big change it's brought into her life is that she's become an entrepreneur. Kismet, आप अपने नमकीन बिजनेस के बारे में बताइए.
नमकीन बिजनेस जब से ये बत्ती के वजह से हम लोग नमकीन बनाते हैं, बत्ती से बनती धमाका, किस्मत धमाका नमकीन.
And that literally translates into Big Bang snacks by Kismet. आप मार्केट में बेचते हैं, किधर बेचते हैं?
बिकेगा बाजार में.
बाजार में बेचते हैं. आप लाए हैं ना?
हाँ.
दिखाइए.
आप लोग जहाँ बाजार में इसको खरीदना.
She wants to make sure all of you recognize the brand so you can go out and buy Big Bang snacks, Big Bang namkeen. और किस्मत, आपने फिर अपने सहेलियों को बताया था इस सोलर पावर के लिए?
सहेलियों को बताया था, गांव में सभी को बताया, घर घर जाके कि लाइट लगवा लो, लाइट से लगवा लो, मोबाइल चार्ज करो, उजेरे में खाना खाओ, बच्चे भी पढ़ें.
So when the solar plant was set up, Kismet was actually the first customer of the plant, and then she went around door to door helping other women and other families to understand the importance of getting the connection and how it would help them also to speak to their husbands because the mobile phone could be charged.
आप अपने बच्चे के बारे में बताइए. आपके बच्चे अब पढ़ते हैं?
जी, हमारे बच्चे पढ़ते हैं, और जैसे बत्ती नहीं रही घर में तो खाली स्कूल के काम स्कूल में भी करते हैं. अब लाइट की वजह से अब स्कूल के काम बच्चे घरे पूरा कर लेते हैं.
So Kismet has 4 children, 2 of them are studying, and the kids of course do try and finish their work in school, but most of the time they're not able to do that, and now they can come home, and because she has electricity at home, they can study late hours, which is really something very important for her.
So it's changing the entire DNA of a village. And I want to bring it back to you, Sanchayita. You are setting up a lot of your water stations, toilets in Dalit areas of villages. And that, you've been saying, has really changed the social fabric of a village. People are going into Dalit areas where they wouldn't dare to venture before.
Yes, I think when you talk about breaking down barriers, it's also about starting a conversation, and that's how barriers get broken. So we consciously decided that we would do social intervention in what is called the Dalit area of the village. While, on paper we may think that it's one big happy family in the village. That couldn't be further from the truth. So when we did this, the idea was that if the upper castes want water, and we were hoping that the pull of getting clean water at affordable prices would be strong enough for them to take that walk and come into this area. And then when you meet people, that's when, these cobwebs in our heads get broken down. And that was the idea behind it. It's not that it was an easy ride. It's not that when we go in, initially we're always taken to the other part of the village saying, that place is dirty. Why do you want to do it there? Do it in the other part. There's no need to go into that area. But this is one thing that we insist on, and we work with the panchayat, and eventually they contribute the land and the building in the Dalit community area. So, they agree to this, and this is something that's a long-term solution. I'm not saying overnight everybody is, there's communal harmony, but this is something that we hope will happen over time.
So you are seeing the barriers come down slowly.
Absolutely, slowly but steadily.
Great. Dr. Khosla, I want to come back to you. And for a country like India, what is your belief about solar power? Is solar power the solution, given that we are blessed with abundant sunlight?
Malika, I know of no problem that has a silver bullet, the solution.
Okay.
There are many solutions, and solar power is a big one. But so is wind, so is biomass. There are many other forms of energy, including animal energy, which we use to a huge extent in our country, and will probably continue to for a while. and so is fossil fuels until we can get away from them. So the answer to your question is solar is big and is getting bigger, and as the prices crash, it will be one of the major ones. But the only thing I wanted to add to your earlier question about the economics of solar energy is that you have to be very imaginative, and you've got to do things that we never thought of doing before. For example, in a village, if I want to supply her and her 80 fellow citizens in her community energy, electricity at, say, 8 or 10 rupees or 15 rupees a kilowatt hour per unit, I have to somehow cross-subsidize that. So I need other kinds of clients, like cell phone towers or the local ice cream making store, factory, or the flour mill. So I need to price the household energy in such a way that the average household can afford it, but I can only do that by making other people pay a little bit more. So there's a whole
You need everyone
bunch
to pitch in to make it affordable.
and pitch in a way that's good for all of them. In other words, I'm supplying electricity cheaper than they would get from anywhere else.
And you have to do that, otherwise no one's going to get involved. It's not going to, you're not going to be able to bring prices down.
And you really need to end up with very cheap energy for the household. So it's quite an imaginative and fairly complex mathematical solution that you end up with. And solar energy is a part of that.
किस्मत, आप महीने में आप कितना पेमेंट करते हैं आपको बत्ती के लिए, आप सोलर एनर्जी के लिए?
सोलर के बारे में है, जैसे नमकीन बन जाती है और गांव में लोग सिलाई का काम करते हैं, और जब अंधेरा हो जाता है तो सिलाई उनकी बराबर नहीं होती थी। अब बत्ती की वजह से 10 बजे 11 बजे रात भर वो लोग अपना बिजनेस काम करते हैं। और डॉक्टर थे, वो शाम के जैसे सूरज डूबने के बाद वो अपना डॉक्टरी वो कमरा बंद करते थे। अब जैसे अब उजेरा है, सोलर बत्ती है, तो समय तक के 10 बजे 11 बजे रात तक के वो बैठे रहते हैं। नहीं, कब किसी के बच्चे की तबीयत ख़राब हो जाती तो बड़ी समस्या होती थी कि अब डॉक्टर तो बंद करके अपने घर गया और हम लोग अंधेरे में कैसे लेके जाएं, बराबर दवा कहीं कभी ना हो पाता है दवा। अब बत्ती के जब से लग गई तब से डॉक्टर लोग कभी रात वहाँ रुक जाते हैं और चले जाते हैं और रुकते हैं, इसलिए बत्ती से बहुत काम होता है। 120 रुपया महीना पड़ा।
So she's paying
एक बल्ब मोबाइल चार्ज।
Mobile charging, most important. But very affordable, Dr. Khosla. Back to your point, 120 rupees a month for your entire house to be lit up, for economic empowerment for your business.
And we can do that because we charge a lot more to somebody else.
Exactly, but exactly. So you have many stakeholders, and in a way, the ones who can afford it will subsidize the ones you can't. But at the end, you end up with many more people who do have access to power and to light. Kismat, एक last question आपके लिए. आपके बच्चे अब पढ़ते हैं, रोशनी है, पढ़ते हैं. आपको उनके लिए क्या उम्मीद है? आप क्या सपने देखते हैं अपने बच्चे के लिए?
सपने यही है कि अब नमकीन बना के और बच्चे के लिए और बिजनेस करके और उनको बढ़ाएंगे.
I can't end on a better note than that, can we? Dhamaka Namkeen. Make sure if you see it in the market, buy it and think of Kismat. Thank you very much.